हेलो इफ मेरी आवाज़ आ रही है तो प्लीज़ मेंशन इन चैट गाइस कि आई एम ऑडिबल टू यू गाइस। मेरी आवाज़ आ रही है तो प्लीज़ मेंशन इन चैट गाइस कि आई थिंक you can all type. So can you just confirm that I am audible? If anyone is from the team or any participant can confirm if I am audible. Okay, okay. Wait, I'll increase the audio. So I hope now I am more clear and audible than before. Uh, just confirm whoever was asking that if my audio is too low, please confirm that if it is still low or better now. I am trying my best to speak as loud as I can. Uh, I'll recommend you guys to wear headphones or earphones or increase your volume to the fullest so that you don't face any issues during the session. Okay, good. So I think we are already running a bit late. Sorry, guys, I was just setting up a few interesting things for you guys. So uh, just let me know if my camera is visible or if it is static. Uh, because in my interface it is showing it as static. So I'm unsure. Just wait a minute, guys. I'll just set up my camera because I think it is coming very static. So just a second, guys. Okay. Am I now visible to you guys? So just waving my hand now. I think I would be much more clearly, able to see you guys, and I hope you can see me now moving. I'm waving my hand. I hope it's fine now. Okay, okay. I can see Ankit typing yes in the chat. Ashnitro also. Okay, cool. Now I think the issues are resolved. Sorry guys, I am just managing this to OBS by myself, so it took some time. So now let's get started. So firstly, I want to ask you guys that you have learnt about recon and other steps before sessions, right? So can anybody tell me that how does delivery differ from the previous steps you have learned, like weaponization and recon? So how does delivery differ from it? So I would want to keep this as much interactive as possible. So I hope you guys also give me answers to my questions in the chat. I am constantly watching the chat also. So please tell me that how does a delivery differs from recon and weaponization phase? Even a wild guess is totally fine. I just want to see how much you guys remember from your previous sessions. So and recon is gathering info about target. Yes, mastermind, correct. And what about weaponization? So anybody? Weaponization. What is weaponization? Okay, I don't think the chat is as interactive as I had predicted, but never mind. Let's start with the PPT first, and then we will move on to practicals because I feel that in this session the practicals will take much more time than the theory part, as I have a lot to show. I even need to show my phone. Okay, Nishi said recon is info gathering and weaponization are the tools. Okay, delivery is the phase where threat actor will actually start his or operation by sending expert in network. Yes. Payload, checking for vulnerabilities. Okay. Cool, cool. Loving it. Thank you for being so responsive. So let's start with the PPT, guys. I don't want to waste any more time. Wait a minute. Yeah. So I think you can now see my whole screen and the PPT also. Just let me know if you can see my PPT right now. You can just type yes or anything you want if you can see the PPT. Please be responsive. Okay, mastermind has said yes. So I'm assuming everybody can see the PPT. Okay, so delivery of payload. Now, one of the most, or I would say the phase which leads to the type of cyber attacks, like in the complete cyber kill chain, the delivery of the payload and exploitation phases are the most important phases, you can say. Because if you can't successfully deliver your payload, there is no use of whatever you are doing. If you can't deliver your payload to the victim, that means you are never going to access the details of a victim or never be able to exploit him or her. So it is basically understanding how delivery of the payload will lead to a complete exploitation. Okay. Now, before we go on to what is payload delivery, all that, we have heard about kill chain. So you guys have learned reconnaissance, which is scanning the environment or harvesting information from social media or any other particular online resources. Then there is weaponization, which is pairing a malicious code with an exploit, or basically you are creating a weapon. Now, delivery is that how you are going to transport that particular weapon to the border, right? In real life terms, that how the military is going to transport a particular weapon to the border. So that is particular meaning of delivery, which is the transmission of the weapon or malware to the target. Then comes exploitation. So once you have delivered the weapon, what will you attack? How will you attack? What are the outcomes once you attack? This phase is what we call exploitation. So once delivered, the weapon's malware code is triggered upon an action. This in turn exploits the vulnerability which is particular of the device or anything you can say. Then these other steps, you can just take a small read at them because they will be covered in the upcoming sessions by the respective speaker. So now that you are clear about the kill chain, so let's move ahead and see that what exactly is payload delivery. So simple definition, it is the process of getting the payload to the target. However, when you're delivering the payload, it does not require vulnerabilities. So you do not require a vulnerability to deliver a payload to your target. It relies on trusted formats and user interaction. Let's say you deliver a malicious file to your user, but he never opens it, never clicks it, then it is basically useless. That means that you delivered, but you could not get to the exploitation phase. So if the if there is no interaction, that means that payload delivery was successful, but exploitation will fail. So that is why I have written here particularly that if delivery fails, exploitation never happens. Now, I have written this purposely, but can you guys tell me that how much of this is true and how much of this is false? So I want to hear from you guys that am I lying or am I just telling the truth? Like if delivery fails, then exploitation never happens, or if there is no interaction, then exploitation is like impossible. So am I just bluffing or is it really true? Let me know in the chat. I'm reading it right now. So I don't see no one. It's true. Okay. Completely logical. Okay. So it is true. So okay. So I got three people, four people. All of them are saying true that if there is no user interaction, that means there won't be any exploitation phase. Now, let me correct you guys. I wrote this purposely. Can you shift your image to the other end of the screen? Shobha, just a minute. After I do this slide, I will shift my particular image. So, if we can't send the payload to victim machine, then how can we exploit it? Yeah, that is part. That part is true. But if I deliver the payload and if the user never interacts with the particular file, then is exploitation still possible? So the answer to that is in some cases, yes, it is definitely possible. So how many of you have heard about the eternal blue attack in Windows? Like basically, you could just hack a Windows machine without the user ever interacting with it. Huh. Has anyone heard about eternal blue SMB attack of Windows? If no, that's totally fine. I will explain it to you guys right now, right here. and that is a very interesting topic too. Okay, Nishi is saying no, so I think others have heard about it. Okay, so in Eternal Blue, there was this thing that you could just send simple TCP packets with malicious data embedded in them. But now the catch was that user would never need to interact with any kind of packets. That means once the user's machine just received the TCP packets, the vulnerability would have been exploited. Now, how did this vulnerability occur? It's simple. It's a 0 day. That means that this vulnerability was not known to the software developer, and this is basically a zero-click attack, as ZW man correctly said and Arnab said. So yeah, basically a 0 day and a zero-click attack can still lead to successful exploitation, even if there is no user interaction. So I purposely wrote this, but I hope you guys remember that user interaction is not always necessary for the exploitation to succeed. If you are a great hacker, then you definitely don't need to rely on user interaction, but you need to rely on how software hardware works behind the scenes. So I hope that's clear with you guys. You can just give acknowledgement in the chat so I can move ahead on to the next slide. Okay, I'm reading the chat, so if any doubts still here, do let me know, or just send me yes or next slide so I can move ahead with the slides. Simple, let's load the link. Preview via simple phone can lead to hack. Yes, but that is if you know how to exploit a kernel level access, which I'll be showing you guys further also. So now, before we go, like how do we deliver payloads and type, we need to understand the types of payloads which attackers use to access the system or cause destruction in the system. So basically, these are some main types. There are ransomware payloads, there are spyware payloads, Trojan payloads, botnet payloads, rootkits, so many things, but we will understand them step by step. Now, ransomware payloads. I don't think I need to explain it in depth because many of you guys must know. Like, how many of you have know? How many of you know about the WannaCry ransomware, which was like a very famous ransomware back some years ago? So meanwhile, you guys answer me. I'll just answer Suman's question. How can we get into the without the user interaction? Sumant, I just explained it. I think a few minutes ago. You can just play back the live, or you can just go to Google and search the Eternal Blue Windows vulnerability, and that will most likely clear out your doubt. Okay, many people know about WannaCry ransomware. So basically, charging money to free your files or decrypt your files. So that is basically what I've written here. It encrypts user files and demands a ransom payment, usually in cryptocurrency, so that you can't track the attacker down to unlock them. Amit, see, so basically, WannaCry was a type of ransomware which was spreading very rapidly back, I think, around 4 to 5 years ago. I think pre-COVID era, where it used to encrypt systems and it used to do lateral movements and demand ransom payments. Okay. Oh yeah. Sorry, Shobha, I forgot to do that. I'll just do it. Give me a minute. Yeah. So I think that's better now. Uh, Let me know if you can uh, see the PPT correctly now. Thank you, Shobha, for pointing out. I was not aware of that. WannaCry was one of the biggest one broken by simple domain registration. Yes, but Arnav, I would like to correct you right now. WannaCry was one of the biggest ones. Yes, but there were bigger ransomwares, and not all famous ransomware are bigger ransomwares. Sometimes ransomwares which only target specific type of individuals, like government authorities or high-profile individuals, they are also the biggest ones and the deadliest ones, right? So now coming on to the next type of payload, spyware payloads. So spy, I think the word is self-explanatory. It spies on you or your device. So it securely monitors the user activity, keystrokes, which is basically key logging, and it tries to steal sensitive personal data like credit card details and all that. Next is Trojan payloads. So it disguises as legitimate software to provide attackers with backdoors or to download additional malware. Now, Trojan payloads and ransomware are most famous types of uh, payloads which are used in real life scenarios. uh, the new one in market, double ransomware. Yeah, Ashlit, that might be. I have not read about it yet, so I'm sorry. Shubhi Srivastava, payload. So payload is basically a type of malicious file which harms the user, and it extracts data or distracts the system in a way which you don't want to. I hope that clears your doubt. Now, Trojan payload is basically you are binding, let's say, malicious software to a legitimate software. Let's say I am installing a backdoor on a modified Instagram APK file. So that is what a Trojan payloads are. Yes, Trojans do have a history with geeks, but let's not go there. So basically, Trojan is stands for you are embedding something wrong in something correct to evade mostly antiviruses and other defender softwares. Now, botnet payloads. Before I move to botnet payloads, please let me know in the chat that how many of you have heard about DDoS. So here basically, so how many of you know about DDoS attack? Meanwhile, I answer Furious Master Gaming Style. So backdoor is basically like the literal term. It is a secret type of access point hidden in the APK or in the malware, through which an attacker can anytime gain re-access to the device, even if he is locked out. So it is like a fallback malware. Distributed denial of service. Okay, good, good. You guys know a lot of things. So, uh, how does DOS, which is denial of service, and distributed denial of service differ? Like the keyword which is distributed, what does that mean? So, any guesses like what does the extra D, which is distributed, come from? Where does it come from? Please tell me. I'm waiting for you guys before I move on to my explanation. Yes, DOS is from one system and TDOS is from many systems. Yep, that is correct. So, many systems. Now, it is like physically infeasible to have like 20, 50 of systems to, you know, uh, stress test a particular website unless you are like very rich. But here comes the catch, that is botnet payloads. Now, what this does is this embeds, this makes a payload in such a way that it turns your PC into botnet. That means that your PC will send multiple requests to the target website, and the best way to notice this is open up Task Manager. You will see application which is using unnecessary RAM or memory usage. So you can easily identify this kind of payloads. However, not in all cases. Sometimes they are very cleverly hidden among the registry files and other sections. But yeah, it basically turns your PC into zombie, and it just follows the command given by the attacker. And yeah, botnet is basically the core of the distributed term in distributed denial of service. So I hope that clears your doubt about botnet. Yep. I think many of you guys know about DOS and DDoS, which is good. So I always say this, but whenever you are learning any advanced topic, like we will go ahead also, the fundamentals should always be clear. Now, I see you guys know about DOS and DDoS, so it will be more easy for you to digest the meaning of botnets and other things which will cover up ahead. Yeah. Now, next is rootkits. Now, after ransomware, Trojan, the third most dangerous type of malware, I would say, or payload are rootkits, because they don't stop at the surface level. They try to gain administrative privileges, root level access, kernel level access to completely hide its presence and other malware from the operating system. So it is basically like you have a particular spy in the opponent's territory, which helps you to completely, hide your presence. So this is why this is one of the most annoying types of payload and malware to figure out. I hope that clears it out with rootkits. Uh, Any other doubts in this particular PPT, please send me in the chat section. I'm watching it. Yeah, Mantri, you are totally correct. I am glad to see that you guys know the fundamentals extremely clearly, which is good. So I think we are good to go with this slide, and we can move on to the next slide. Yeah, mastermind. So rootkits are basically a type of payload which completely hides itself. For example, if you are taking your Android phone, then it will try to enable the developer options and then become a part of the system itself. That is why it is sometimes difficult to figure out where the particular rootkit is hiding. Or if you are on a Windows system, it will try to gain administrator privileges. Or on a Linux system, it will try to get sudo or super user privileges. So mastermind, I hope that clears your doubt. And let's move forward now. Now coming to the vectors of payload delivery. How do we deliver a payload? Now I don't think I need to explain much in this slide, but however I'll just do email attachments. Now can you guys tell me what kind of attachments? I think Gmail has a pretty strict filtering for the attachments it uses, right? So give me your best guesses. Email attachments. I'm watching the chat. Ashnit, Instagram data breach wasn't recent. It was quite a few years back, I believe, and or months back. It has just resurfaced again now. It is not the latest breach, and all breaches do not stem from payloads. Sometimes even a small SQL injection can lead to a complete database down. Okay, PDF, DLL. Yep. Any more guesses? Or yeah, a malicious file, but what kind of extension? If I must be clear, then what kind of extension do you think we can upload as an attachment which can possibly give me access to the victim's machine? So we have PDF and DLL files, which is right. Images and PDFs, yeah. Images, very underrated, I would say. Images can also be used to deliver payloads. .exe, yeah, in some cases yes, but sometimes it might get flagged also. Now uh, apk, yes, again sometimes it might get flagged. So I see lot of answers using archive files, attacker space versus finding compressed archive. Yeah, so basically that was the answer I was looking for in here. Zip or rar file or tar file. Now they are very underestimated because .zip files are like kind of gold mines. Like there can be so much things to do with zip files. Like you just send the zip file. Once the extraction is completed, the access of the victim machine is given to the attacker. So this is basically the attachments which we can send. So yeah, you guys are pretty correct with the extensions. I'm happy. Now email links. What could particular email links mean? Now I think I did a session in blue teaming too. So if you guys can recall what was my session about, I think you can give the answer to this particular point pretty easily. So what does it mean by email links? Yes, ZW-man, you are correct. They attack the system and gain access, which is like minimal access to run some certain processes, or it's just simply flooding them with slow loris or other kind of tools. So coming to this particular heading, but email links. So how many of you guys remember? Yeah, short URLs. That's a good part. Clone website, yes, correct. So yeah. .php phishing links, yeah, phishing links, yes. As I had said in the blue teaming session also, phishing is like one of the most used vectors also in today's world. So yeah, phishing can be used here. Like let's say for example, they give you a link of Google Drive or Dropbox or anything, and say that there is a like invoice attached here. You download it, but it turns out that it is not just a simple PDF, but rather a malicious PDF. I'll show you guys an example of malicious PDF also. Just give me some time. So yeah, I have mentioned a PDF and document files which directly relates to email attachments. Then web downloads. So Web downloads, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I need to go deep into web downloads. But yeah, sometimes if you disable like the Google, if you disable like unknown browsers to install particular web downloads, then you are safe. But if you allow browsers to blindly install things, then yeah, your device might be at risk. Now, file upload functionality. What about this? Any guesses like where does this particular thing belong? The file upload functionality. Hosting attachments on trusted services URLs. Close enough, but not close enough. Now, I want you guys, before answering this question, I want you guys to broaden your perspective. Devices are not the only thing red teaming checks for, right? There can be websites, there can be servers, there can be industrial systems also. Yeah, Ashnitro gave it right. Web apps. Yes. So file upload functionality are usually seen in web applications, APK files, etc. Google Forms, yeah, but it is generally like too secure to break into. So yeah, let's consider a vulnerable application which allows you to upload files. Now generally it should allow only image files or PDF files, but you are able to upload a PHP file, a web shell file, and once it uploads you can get server level access to that particular domain, and you can just achieve remote code executions and execute your own malicious commands on the server. Now, how does this all process? I have it covered in the exploitation phase. So, yeah, we will see it there. Shared drives and internal resources. Again, I think you guys know about Slack, if I'm not wrong. Like, Slack is basically internal team resource and communicate with teams. So, it's basically trusted. Now, sometimes even Google Drive, you can give shared access to others. So, that can be another vector to deliver your payload. FTP via clipboard, yeah, that is correct. But file upload, like you just upload a file and it sends it to the server side and you can access it, right? So that these are the most common vectors which are seen in the step of delivery of payloads, and there are some more advanced vectors, but like air gapping functionalities, cryptographic transfers, all that. But we won't be getting into that now. Now, why are PDFs more effective? Now, don't just blindly read this particular content. I want to hear from you guys that accept this. Why do you think PDFs are more effective? You can give me a real world scenario as an example if you want to. I am curious to know you people's opinion on this particular point. So, any guesses or any reasons why PDFs turn out to be more effective as a payload vector? Looks casual and normal and not harmful. Yeah, that is one part, definitely. Not that suspicious. To process of PDF, separate code is executed by OS. Yes, that is correct too. Okay, now one of the most important aspect is that any kind of invoice or summary or transaction details or any kind of business related details you receive, it is often in a PDF file or in a document file. So yeah, that means it is easily trusted by the users. Now think like a hacker, right? You don't want to keep casual, you don't want to attack casual people at all. Your target is a complete business, okay? uh, so basically you can send invoices, transaction summaries, or some order details to a particular employee in a PDF format, right? So that kind of thing can be easily trusted, and this is what makes PDF most effective, because you can't just share a link and tell user that you go and download your transaction history or order history and all that. The PDF is the most viable way to send such kind of details. Account statements, yep, even that. You get emails from banks and all that regarding new updates or notices. You will notice that most of them are in PDF formats only, right? So I hope that that clears out the doubt that why PDFs are more effective. The core reason why they are more effective. Shubhi, yes, mobile devices are also a part of red teaming, and I have to show you guys something about that later on. So I hope this point is clear that why PDFs are more effective because of the trustworthiness and how it is used in the real world corporate scenario. I wish see how file upload work with RCE. Actually, this is basically a web application pen testing part. It will need a separate session to discuss that in detail. But it is basically you are the server is trusting the file which is uploaded to execute commands. So that is how that works. Okay. Now, widely trusted and expected by users, as I said, rarely blocked by email security controls. Most important points. There might be chances your zip files get flagged, your APK, DLL, TXT file get flagged, but there is a very rare chance that your PDF files will get flagged by any email security. Now, one more important point: non-executable by default, reducing suspicion. You cannot execute a PDF file unless you tap on it, you click on it, or open it, and that is why it reduces any suspicion from the victim. Now, can embed or reference external content? Can you tell me what does this mean? I want to hear from you guys. And so sorry, I'm questioning you guys so much, but I want to understand your opinions on this particular slide, and I want you to correct if you guys are wrong anyway. So, what does it mean by can embed or reference external content? Nishi, yes, see, your payload delivery vectors should be always chosen on the type of victim you are attacking. Like if you are attacking a casual victim, then you don't always need a PDF file. If you are, let's say, you are attacking your friend, you don't need a PDF file. You can just send an APK and tell that this is my new app, please test it. Like embed some payload in it. Yeah, mastermind payload I understood, but like what language? Now I'm hinting at you guys. Like what kind of language can be used here? Ever heard of pop-ups, guys? JavaScript pop-ups. Yeah, Radhika. But to correct you here, if there is malicious links and user never notices the link, he will never open the link and he will never download the file which you intended him to download. That means that your exploitation phase will never occur, right? Yeah, can have a reference of another file with link and external web APK or another. Correct. So JavaScript can be embedded into PDF files, which can come as a pop-up, which can be used to scare your victim, can be used to trick them into downloading something which is pretty unnecessary but advantageous for you. This is what it means by can embed or reference external content. Yep, pop-ups can be faked, but that is if you are on a local network. If you are on the same network, that is, Beef only works on same network, as far as I know about my knowledge. Okay, often bypass deep inspection mechanisms. It can bypass EV pretty well if you are obfuscating your payload very cleverly, and I'll show you guys this particular thing also. Now let's understand this flow. Let's see, say that I am the attacker and I want to send a PDF, malicious PDF to my victim. So what will be the complete process? I send the PDF, the user opens the PDF. Now, there are two things. Either the PDF instructs the user to extract something or click on a link, and from that link, the payload is retrieved. It can be a zip file, a bat file, or downloadable file, anything. Or once he opens, there is an instruction, but it automatically executes the payload. And once these things are done, we achieve the complete code execution. I hope till here everything is clear to you guys. If any doubts, please let me know so I can move ahead. If no doubts, then also let me know. Okay, how can PDF? I'm sorry, Nisha, I did not get your doubt. Please keep it. So, how can PDF automatically execute a payload? Yeah, I'll show that to you, Nishi. Don't worry. In the demo, I'll show it to you guys. Okay. Now, What did we learn about payload delivery from here? The PDF itself did not exploit anything. In normal cases, there was some execution which required the interaction from user, like clicking on the link or opening the PDF itself, right? The trusted formats always reduce suspicions. No vulnerability was required to deliver the payload, and if the delivery was successful, it directly enabled the exploitation. User executes a payload. What does that mean? Yeah. So previous slide. Now there is a payload which is retrieved, which can be a zip file, BAT file, or a downloadable. And if user just clicks on the file, extracts it, or runs it, that means the user has executed the payload, right? Okay. Uh, Furious, I won't show the complete PDF exploitation because YouTube guidelines will just block the video, which I don't want. But I'll show a simple exploit. Okay. Yeah, Shrip. So I hope the takeaways are clear to you guys. You can feel free to add any other thing you have learned in the chat box or on the WhatsApp group later on. Okay. I hope it's clear till here to you guys. Yes. I'm watching the comments. If any doubts in this particular payload delivery phase, please ask me right now before we move on to the exploitation phase. Uh, I'll answer any and every query which is related to the payload delivery or doubts from any of the previous sessions. I'll be also happy to answer them. Okay, I'm seeing clear. Yes, okay. So I think we are good to go towards the exploitation phase, right? So exploitation. Now, before I show you what is exploitation, what is your understanding of exploitation? Like, what do you guys understand when you hear the word exploitation? Srishti, what told us embedded JavaScript in PDFs, plain malware delivery? Srishti, I want you to remember about cross-site scripting attacks if you have heard them, right? And how does a pop-up appear on window? Like, let's say for example, if a file has failed to download, then there will be a pop-up on windows, right? So what is the psychological behavior behind that pop-up? Suddenly a pop-up comes, you get scared, you get annoyed, or sometimes you don't understand why the particular pop-up is coming, and you just follow the instruction which is written on the pop-up. Am I right? So basically, if that particular instruction asks the user to download something from an external link, isn't that pop-up aiding in the social engineering part? I hope I am understandable. 60, you can just write if you understood. Leveraging existing vulnerability and in target system using payload, take advantage of the vulnerability. Okay, great guys. I'm genuinely surprised. So now, this might be a tricky question, but what is the biggest vulnerability you can, you can exploit to gain access? Any ideas? And it does not need to be technical vulnerability always. Okay, using exploits and metasploit to gain access. Not always metasploit, but yes. Radhika, what point you did not understood, please send it in the chat. So I'll explain it as much easily as I can with examples also. Yeah, software bug. Okay, if the application system at that time attack and exploit type perform attack, meet repeater session opens. Okay, good. Misconfiguration. Okay. Social engineering. Yes, I was waiting for these two answers, which is one by mastermind human and other is social engineering. Yes, technical vulnerabilities still exist, but the biggest vulnerability is the human mind. So I've always said this that more you learn how to social engineer people, more you will be easily able to exploit any system, any human, right? I hope that clears what exploitation is. This is purely a personal view, so I hope you don't mind it. So yeah, exploitation basically exploiting a weakness or finding a weakness in the system and taking advantage of that particular weakness to gain access or unauthorized access to the target device or anything like that. Okay, I hope that clears your point. So yeah, basically the act of turning access into execution, okay, which is what we call exploitation. Now, outcomes due to exploitation. So before we move on to outcomes, let us understand that how can we achieve successful exploitation once the payload is delivered successfully, right? First is remote code execution, RCE. Now, how many of you guys have heard about RCE? Let me know in the comments, guys. What is your understanding of remote code execution? So, RCE, heard but not in detail. Okay. Any other people who have just heard about RCE but do not know in detail, do let me know. I just want to understand uh, how many of you have heard about it and not heard about it. No idea. Okay, that's absolutely fine. Okay, we will learn about all these three in details also. Accessing target machine remotely. Yeah, that is half correct. Ability to control compromised machine over the network. Yep, that is also one of the components of RC. Accessing the target without actually present over there. Yes, that is correct. Remotely access to the server. Okay, good. It can give remote access to the attacker. Okay, correct. Great, guys. So yeah, RC is basically symbol that you are remotely accessing a server or system which you are not supposed to, right? We'll learn about this in more detail in upcoming slides. Next is kernel level access. Now, one of the most dangerous things or an attacker can achieve, or one of the most peak things a hacker can reach is gaining the kernel level access of a system. Now, what do you mean by kernel? Before I tell you what is kernel level access, what do you mean by kernel? Any guesses, guys? Like, what do you mean by kernel? Tell me. Anything is okay. Any guess is okay. Heart of operating system, yes. But mastermind, any features of kernel? Like, why only kernel? Like, there are so many things in an operating system, right? Kernel interface between software and hardware. Yep, that is one particular feature of kernel. Root access. Kernel is responsible for executing and performing tasks. Charita, kernel is definitely not a weak spot to hack, but it is a critical spot to hack. Like, if you gain kernel level access, you have basically the complete control. Mediator between user and hardware, root accessing the system. Yeah, all of you guys are correct, but not completely. As Mastermind said, kernel is basically the backbone and the heart of particular or any operating system. Kernel manages all the functions, all the features, all the functionalities and tasks you are doing in an operating system. For example, sharing of files, network protocols, and all of that is handled at the root level by the kernel, or at least some kind of logic is also written in the kernel to execute those particular commands. It is basically the kernel is ordering the operating system what to do, right? Yeah, basically soul system calls. Yeah, you all are right. Now, what will happen if someone gains control of your heart? Simple question, right? Or what if someone gains access of the kernel of your system? So I think you know that they can completely hijack your system. They can basically do whatever they want with the system. Am I correct, guys? On kernel level access part, just let me know. Yeah, can access the entire system, right? Gains all access, right? Now, the most important thing is kernel level access is critical because it can, once you gain that access, you can easily evade any kind of firewall, any kind of defender software, and you can then further on plant your backdoors or any post exploitation C2 servers, anything, right? This is why this is much more dangerous. Now, living off the land or lol means. Any ideas about lol bins, guys? Like, take a random guess. I know the name is pretty weird, but it is what it is. So, tell me any guesses. What is the meaning of lol bins? I would recommend you to not use Google because it is not always right. So, any guesses on lol bins, guys? What are they? No idea. Okay, no worries. Any other people who know have any idea about lol bins? Let me know, guys. Even if you have no idea, so you can also tell me so I know that how much I have to explain. Hope it's a tool. Threat actors available tools in target system like PowerShell. Okay. So lol bins are basically like you are controlling something which is present in the system and using it as an entry point or as a supporter to your malware. For example, I think Ashnit correctly said that available tools in target system. So I supposedly this is my laptop from which I am presenting. I have certain applications which are running like I have PowerShell, I have Google Chrome. What if that becomes an entry point to the attack, right? Chrome have faced vulnerabilities. So these kind of things which are trusted by the devices or are pre-installed in the device and you exploit them to gain access to the victim. This is what means by living off the land. Means you don't need to make a complete exploit or any particular malware application by yourself. You just need to tweak some changes in the existing application to exploit the system. Okay, I hope that gives you a short overview of what is LOLBins. If any doubt in LOLBins, please let me know. Um any queries in LOLBins, or I can move ahead with the PPT. Okay, I'm not seeing any comments. I don't know if it's my internet or you guys. Uh, have you? Do you guys have any still doubts about LOLBins, or are we good to go further? Good to go. Okay, Ashok. Thank you for commenting. Is it like already available malware with some changes? Close, but it's not already available malware. It's already available software which are existing in the system, and you are tweaking that software to gain access. Well, Albins used some example. Shankar, let's suppose that there is a Google Chrome, which is I think pre-installed or a trusted application in Windows system, right? Now, for example, there is a vulnerability which was found in Google Chrome. Now, what if someone exploits that particular vulnerability? So basically, Google Chrome is trusted by the Windows device, but you are exploiting the vulnerability in Google Chrome to access the device. So the system will simply think that it's Google Chrome trying to run some commands or trying to gain some data. And since it trusts the already installed application, it will not try to block it in most cases. Now, next, PowerShell, like basically the command center of the desktop application of Windows. What if an attacker is able to manipulate what your PowerShell does? PowerShell is an existing application in the Windows machine, right? Now, an attacker tries to execute commands using PowerShell. That means using an already existing application in the Windows environment. So that is again how a LOLBins is exploited. I hope Shankar that clears your doubt, Mastermind that clears your doubt, and ZW man. I think I gave two more examples. So, any more doubts? Please ask. And I think regarding possible outcomes, command execution we already discussed about like RCE, living off the land, kernel level access. Basically, it gives command execution. Full system compromise, kernel level access leads to full system compromise. Can we categorize web extension in all bins? Ashtit, web extensions are very specific to the browser, right? Web extensions aren't trusted by the host machine. They are trusted by the browser. But a browser is trusted by the host machine. So somehow, if you are categorizing a web extension, then you need to make a chain that is extension can exploit a vulnerability in the web browser, which can further exploit a vulnerability in the host machine. I hope that clears it out. Now, possible outcomes, privilege escalation. It is one of the most important terms in all of cybersecurity, be it blue team, purple team, red team. You are escalating your privileges from a low level user, that means a simple customer, to a high level user, that means an admin or a customer team or someone which has more privileges than you had. So, I hope privilege escalation is also clear to you guys. How can a remote code execution RC vulnerability escalate into kernel level access? Shristi, RC doesn't generally execute, it escalates into kernel level access because RCE is a type of web application API related vulnerability. However, kernel level access dives deeper and it goes into the core of software like the hex data, assembly data, and it exploits the vulnerabilities which are present there. I hope that clears it out, Srishti. RC is most likely not chained to kernel level access. Kernel level access is a completely separate topic. I hope that clears everyone's doubt. Pranav, yes, practical. I know. Even I am excited. Don't worry. Now, remote code execution. We already talked about an overview of this. So it basically allows an attacker to execute their controlled code on the target system. It allows them to run commands through a vulnerable application or service. Now, how many of you guys have heard about the recent N8N vulnerability or the recent React to Shell vulnerability? The recent vulnerabilities which came into limelight just a few months back, and N8N is very recent. How many of you guys have heard about it? So I'm waiting for your answer. That about N8N and React to Shell. Yes. So you have heard about those vulnerabilities. Pranav has heard about those vulnerabilities. Ashnit Rowe hasn't heard about those vulnerabilities. She accesses in React.js. Okay, React.js is correct. Amit Sia hasn't haven't heard. Okay. So React to Shell was a pretty severe vulnerability which exploited a particular code snippet in the React framework or Next.js framework, which allowed an attacker to access or to execute codes, which is basically execute codes remotely. That means it exploited this particular vulnerability, which is remote code execution. If you just search up React to Shell, you can get all the details by the author himself. And Shell. So Shell is basically execution. It is a basic terminology in Linux and Windows. So basically, you are getting shell access. You are getting certain level of access where you can execute codes on the target system. So basically, that was a RC vulnerability which was exploited. I hope that gave you something new about the recent vulnerability. Now, control execution without direct system access. Yes, you do not need to be physically present to that particular laptop or server to execute commands on the system. Okay, and operate within the privileges of the exploited process. Now, what does this mean? This means that if you are exploiting a remote, if you are trying to achieve a remote code execution on a sudo user, on a root user, that means once you have successfully exploited, you will also gain the privileges, which is the highest level, which is you will gain the root privileges. Similarly, if you exploit a user which is having low level privileges, then you will only be able to execute low level or some limited amount of commands on the system. Yeah, it's basically gaining shell access. That means you can, it is basically like SSH into the system. You can execute all the commands which you can execute on your home machine. Right? Mastermind, I hope that clears it out too. So this is basically everything about RC and what does it allows an attacker to do. So any doubts in RC, please let me know guys. Any doubts in RC? watching the commands. I'm watching the chat. My bad. Speak command shell also considers RC Shankar. Yes, I'm confused. What do you mean by the speak command shell? So if you could just deep dive, or you can just elaborate on what did you mean by that. Okay. Shubhi, can you please repeat once again? Okay. So basically, we just discussed about a brief overview of what is a remote code execution. So now coming to impact of remote code execution, it allows an attacker to execute shell commands, which is basically cd, ls, present working directory on the target system, and it runs it commands through a vulnerable application, which can be a website, an application, desktop application, or a particular service. Like for example, we have sss services, we have protocols, basically that. It controls execution without direct system access. That means you don't have to be present near the laptop, you don't have to have access to the target laptop or the target server to execute commands on them. Operate within the privileges of the exploited process. That means if you are able to remote code execute into a user who is having root privileges or the highest amount of privileges on a Linux machine, that means you can also execute commands with the same privileges. Okay, so should we? I hope that clears your doubt too. No doubt, guys. Okay, I don't think any more doubts are there, so I can move ahead. Now, kernel level access. Very interesting thing, very complex topic, and one of the most dangerous things which is there. So, kernel level access provides execution within the operating system kernel. That means that user cannot control what you are executing in the operating system. You basically are hijacking the heart or the backbone of the particular operating system. Okay. Mastermind, I did not get you. Sorry. Shubhi, yes, there will be practicals. I think there are only 3 slides left, so don't worry. Control beyond user space restrictions. Again, as I said, users cannot control what you do once you have entered the kernel of the system. Okay. Ability to bypass most application level security controls. That means that systems like Windows Defender or any basic firewall system which only analyze applications if they contain malware will not be able to track any attacker who has entered your kernel. Impact across all processes on the system. Once you have entered the kernel, you can manipulate the task manager, you can manipulate what the system shows, you can manipulate basically all the processes which are running and available on the system. Should be yes, there will be practicals. Don't worry. Key characteristics. So, how is this exploited? Achieved via kernel or driver vulnerabilities. Now, there can be graphic drivers, there can be update drivers, software drivers. Drivers are basically a kind of software component which is used to execute the functionality of the software. So now in the execution phase, if the attacker is able to put something malicious, that means it is exploiting a vulnerability in the driver. So that is how you can achieve kernel level access or driver vulnerabilities. And to master these kind of particular vulnerabilities, you need to have a solid understanding of reverse engineering. You need to understand how applications, how drivers, how kernels, how operating systems work on the back end. How do they call the functions? How do they basically interact with processes? You need to know all of that to you know understand the kernel level access more deeply and more easily. Now, kernel level accesses are rare compared to user space exploitation. That means just hacking into a device, or just hacking into a particular environment is much more available, but hacking into the complete kernel is much more rarer. High impact but high risk and visibility. Because why visibility? Because yeah, the impact is of course high. You can control basically everything on the system. High risk and visibility because these type of exploits can be tracked down if the particular software organization finds out that the 0 day is being exploited. Kernel level vulnerabilities are mostly 0 day vulnerabilities, right? And visibility because if you are seeing that certain processes on a system are not working, they are just executing randomly, that means that whatever you are doing are easily visible. It's easily visible that you are manipulating the task manager, you are manipulating the system, user can easily see it. Even, but this can be in good terms that you are hacking into a kernel that can land you a CVE and a good bounty also. So these are the key characteristics of kernel level access. Any doubts in this particular slide? I'll be happy to answer them. So go on. I'll wait for 2-3 minutes. Clear? Okay, good. Clear. Okay, great. Clear. No, sir. Okay. Think we are good to go. And if you guys are thinking that you want to, go fast to the practical, that is why you are not asking doubts, then please don't do this because in cybersecurity, theory is as much important as the practical. Okay, without theory, you can't understand how the practical is operating or what are we doing. So please keep this in mind. So I assume that you guys have really understood all of this. So we can move forward now. Sorry for the so many content on this particular slide. Living off the land lol wins. One of the most interesting topics that even I came across when I was learning about it. Now, it refers to abusing legitimate system tools for malicious execution. As I said, applications like PowerShell, browsers, which are legitimate, they are utilized to execute malicious things using binaries already present on the system. Okay, that can be access point for the malware or Trojan. Now, this avoids custom malware or payload props. If you are exploiting something which is already present in the system, you do not need to make something else to gain access to the system. Okay. Now, this is where it gets interesting. It blends attacker activity with the normal system behavior. Let's say, for example, I am exploiting a Google Chrome vulnerability in the target system. Even if the target is running Google Chrome, he or she will not notice that behind the scenes I am also gaining access to the system. Right? I hope this is clear. Now, why attackers use lol bins? Tools through which this particular thing is exploited are trusted and signed. Signed means a digital signature, a specific key is given to all particular applications, which means that the software is trusted to run on the particular operating system. Execution appears legitimate. That means that the user, or in most cases the antivirus, cannot differentiate that if it is executed by you or by a remote attacker. And this is why it reduces detection and alerts. Again, you are exploiting something which is already there. That is why you do not require any additional software. Now, key takeaways: lol bins are an execution technique, not an exploit. That means that you are executing an exploit using the lol bins. Okay, often used after RCE. How? Once you have gained shell access, you can go to the binary file. For example, you can just search up the binary of Google Chrome. You can edit the binary file without changing the signature, and then you can input any malicious payload into that particular binary. Effective at maintaining access and control. How? Because any user will most likely not delete a browser, PowerShell, or any system trusted tools. That is why an attacker can have continuous access and control over the system. Favored for stealth over power. Again, yes, lol bins might not used to deliver heavy payloads like ransomwares or rootkits, but they can deliver simple Trojan payloads which can act as another gateway to a more larger payload. That is why it is much more favored for stealth over power. Can we consider a vulnerability in PowerShell as a lol means? As no use can suspect that. Yes, you can consider a vulnerability in PowerShell as a lol means, but only if you are able to exploit that vulnerability. Okay, if you are not able to exploit that vulnerability, that means you are not utilizing lol wins effectively. I hope that clears your doubt, Shankar. And this is all about lol wins. Any other doubt? Let me know in the chat. So I'm waiting for you guys to ask any kind of doubt to let me know. Can we say dolphins is a type of backdoor access? Yes, it is a type of backdoor access, but where in the system trusted applications. Okay, Prashit, I hope that clears it out too. Okay, all clear till now. I mean, if it is a vulnerable, then it will have a CVE. Can we practice on that particular dolphins? Yes, you can practice, but for that you will need an older system which has a older version of the application, and you will also need to find the appropriate CVE. However, for lol bins and those particular exploits are generally not available publicly. So, but if you can find one, you can definitely try it on your own system in a controlled environment. Okay. Sumant, I hope that helps you too. And I think with this, we do not have any more doubts. Okay. Now, tools for exploitation. I think this is what all of you have been waiting for. Coming to the practicals part. So, Metasploit framework. I think absolutely even beginners, many of you have heard about Metasploit framework. Even like a simple YouTube video, if you see on how to hack Android devices, you will see the mention of Metasploit anywhere, right? So, as the name suggests, it is one of the most popular exploitation framework with thousands of modules related to web hacking, system hacking, application hacking, anything. Mastermind used it. Nice. PowerSploit. Again, it is a PowerShell based exploitation script. It utilizes the privileges of PowerShell to, you know, execute payloads. Then exploit DB. It is a repository of publicly known exploit. That means you don't have to go here and there for a search on GitHub and Google to find exploit for a CVE. There is a complete repository dedicated to that. Then Nmap plus NSC, which is the Nmap scripting engine. It is sometimes used for identifying and exploiting simple vulnerabilities, which is basically in the services, port services. Okay, I think there are no doubts in this particular slide. If any doubts related to the tools, please let me know. I have only kept basic tools here. There are much more advanced tools, but that would take another session to cover all of that. Network and port scanning. Yes, Nishi, correct. Clear? Okay, great. So, what do you want to see first? Should I show you the PDF execution with JavaScript? I think that is a pretty short thing, and I think it will be easy to show you guys that particular thing first. So, let me just open File Explorer, downloads. So, can you see this, guys? Uh, Now, I think someone had asked a doubt that how can you exploit a pop-up in a PDF. Now, What if here there is shown that this PDF is corrupted? Please go to this particular website to download the original PDF. And what if it is a like malicious PDF but not the original one? Okay, so that is why a pop-up can act as a great gateway to make the user go to the particular original payload delivery mechanism. Okay, so this is how the pop-ups work on a payload, a pretty simple payload. If you want, I will also send this PDF on WhatsApp to you guys, and you can see that why PDFs are one of the most dangerous payload delivery mechanisms. Okay, and Urvi, sorry if I am pronouncing your name right. NAC is basically the Nmap scripting engine which provides the particular vulnerabilities and scripts to exploit CVEs in the particular service. Okay. Uh, I hope this makes you understand more better that why PDFs are much more effective than any other file type, right? Just send your favorite emoji in the chat so I can know the excitement and your reaction. Just give me a second, guys. Okay, cool. I'm not seeing you guys sending your favorite emojis, so it's a bit disheartening for me. But okay, let's leave it there. And once I click on OK, this is the basic text file, invoice. Please review the attached invoice. This document is used for red team awareness demo, whatever. Okay. Now, to the main thing, interesting things. We are going to exploit an Android device, which is basically my phone itself. So, I fired up my Kali machine. Okay. Now, before we go into exploitation and see how we can exploit Android devices, we need to first understand some basic things. For example, here my phone and my laptop is connected to the same network. Okay, so basically I need to set the IP address of my Kali machine as the receiving IP address of the connection. And before you try it yourself in a controlled environment, what you would want to do is go to a particular settings of the virtual uh, manager you are using. Then you click on settings, then you go and click on network tab and you make sure that you are attached as a bridge adapter. Okay, this will help you to successfully test the payload or the APK file you are making. So I hope this part is clear. If it is clear, let me know in the chat because this is a very important thing. And if you don't do this setting, you will not be able to execute the payload on the target device. Okay, you let me know if this is clear to you guys. Great, amazing. Now, once you have done this, I'll just clear this out. You will type IP8, which is basically showing all the IP address which your system is using right now. Now, 127.0.0.1 localhost, it is of no use. This particular IP address is basically the Ethernet IP address or the one which we are using over our Wi-Fi. So this is the IP address which we are using as the reverse connection. That means if the Android device successfully executes the APK, the data will be sent to this particular host. TL, please once again explain. Okay. So I was saying that before you get into all this, before setting up a payload, you go to your particular virtual manager and you just make sure that in network you are using the bridge adapter. That means that your host and the virtual machine will share the same IP address. Okay, I hope that clears it out. Now, once you have got this IP address, copy this, and what we'll do is I have created a mousepad file, so I'll just paste the IP address here for my own reference. Now, the next step is we need to generate a payload, right? So for this we have this command here too. So I'll just copy this command and then I'll explain you what does it do exactly. Okay, till the IP address part, is everything clear to you guys? Do let me know. Please change the transparent terminal background to see the command. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Just give me a second. I will do that. Just a minute. Okay. Uh, I think you can now see it better. The commands ZWMan. I hope they are much more clearer now. Okay, great. So, MSF Venom. This is basically part of Metasploit, which allows you to make payloads. Hyphen P, we are specifying the type of payload you want. I want Android, I want a meter predator payload, which is basically an advanced type of payload, which will send a reverse connection back to my host machine, which is this particular IP address. Then reverse TCP. I am making connection from my particular machine to the target machine via TCP protocol. Now I can also keep HTTP protocol, HTTPS protocol if my target device is located somewhere else on the internet and not on my local network. Okay, is this part clear to you guys? Let me know in the chat. I'm watching it. Okay, only ZW man has understood, I think. Okay, now L host. This is basically the host machine on which you will receive the reverse connection, which is you can see basically the same IP address here. If your IP address is something else here, you will keep that IP address here. L port is basically the port you are specifying. You can keep it any number from like 0 to 65,535, but it is always recommended to keep something like 4444 or 6767 or something like that. Okay, and hyphen O means my output file, and name of the file is save.epk. So I have kept the name of the file as this. Okay, I hope this particular doubt is sorry, this particular command is clear to you guys. Okay, now once you execute this command, which I have already did, or I'll just show you that what it shows. So sorry. Okay. So you can see that APK has been made here. Okay, I think you guys can see the APK file here, and if anyone is doing the practical side by side, you can just hit enter after this command and you can see the file being generated here. Okay, now the next step is to set up the console from which we will control the device. So simply type msf control. Okay, meanwhile, sir, can you tell me the steps to set up this environment to do this practical at home? Professor, just install a virtual machine. Just make sure your network is configured on bridge adapter, and then install Metasploit, and then you are good to go. I think if you follow these steps. Okay, Metasploit console has opened. Let's see what all has written here. So can see that enable HTTP request and response logging with set HTTP trace. This is basically if you are sending a payload over HTTP connection. Then the current status of Metasploit, it has 2,584 exploits, 1,319 are auxiliary exploits, you can say, and then we have 1,697 payloads. Okay, and then there are 434 post, 49 encoders, then we have 14 knobs, 9 evasion. Okay, auxiliary means the basically the support components or supplementary components. Then payloads and exploit, I think you already know. Then we have encoders which encodes your payload or obfuscates it. Then we have evasion which can be used to evade specific antiviruses. Okay, and then we have knobs and posts. Post is basically the post exploitation modules or tools which you can utilize, and knobs are basically a kind of no operation things which are basically used before the malicious code is executed, and it tries to evade the forensic part of the investigation, and it can be used to add some padding to the payloads, and it's basically some advanced topics which we won't discuss right now because it will take 2 to 3 sessions to cover all of Metasploit. Now what we are gonna see, sorry, so now we will use this particular thing, use slash multi slash handler, if I'm not wrong, this is the payload here. So we have set up a multi-handler. What does this mean? This means that I can handle multiple devices through this. Multi means multiple, handler means I'm handling the devices. That means using this particular APK, I can send it to 2 or 3 particular devices, and I can handle all of those devices using multi-handler. Okay, I hope that point is clear to you guys. Next is we will set our payload. Now, after this, any guesses what do we have to write? I think the hint is in this command. So what do we write here, guys? As you can tell me or give your best guesses here in the command in the chat section. I'm looking at the chat section right now. So what do we write out after set payload? Any guesses? Reverse TCP. Okay, it is a part of the string which we are going to write, but not the only string. Android meter meter reverse TCP. Yes, correct. Why? Because we are specifying the same payload type here. So of course we need to set the same payload type here. If I make this HTTP, I will never be able to see a connection in my interface. Okay. So what we will do is we will just copy this particular thing and let's try to paste it and see if it works. Okay, we have set our payload to meter meter, reverse TCP and Android. Now, next is set L host. Have you already specified it here? Can you see the screen? Or much better, I can also show you guys here. Set L host. So L host will be this, right? So I'll just copy this. I'll just paste this here and enter. We set our L host here. Next is setting up L port. What is our L port? Now, once I type 4444, I can just simply enter this here. Okay, you can see 444, right? Now, can you tell me in L host and L port, what does L mean? Any guesses, guys? What does it mean by keeping it L? Because understanding each and every section of the command you are executing is very important. No, I'm not asking L port. I'm asking what does L stands for in L port and L host. Listening. Okay, yeah. So basically, it is the listener host and listener port. Listener host will always be the IP address here, and port you can specify anything which you will have to set here again. That means that I will listen all the connections which are made by the target devices on this particular IP address through this particular port. Okay. I think it's not local host, it's the listener. Listener, listener. The port of the listener and the host IP address of the listener. Okay. Not local, listener, guys. Listener. Okay. If there was R here, it means receiver. But since we are listening from this particular device, we will keep it L, which is listener. Now, once this is done, what is the next step? We have to just simply run. But thing is that I need to install it on my Android device also, right? So how do we do that particular thing? So what we will do is, how many of you have heard about HTTP server? This particular thing. Any ideas what it does? I'll just paste it here so you can see it clearly. Any idea, guys? What does this command do? Just let me know if any guesses of what will this command do. Just tell me in the chat. And while you guys answer, I'll just quickly set up my main camera so I can show you my mobile device also. Okay, just a few minute. I will just place my camera here. Okay, and I think this will yeah. So Python model which can be used to create temporary server. Okay, runs the server. Okay, very good, correct. So I will just click run here, enter as we discussed, and run. And I'll at the same time run this server also. So we are starting a web server on the on our network, and we have started a reverse TCP handler on this. That means any type of connection made by the target device will be sent here. Now I have started this server. Okay. Now here comes the interesting part. I will just have to show my phone. So I will sorry. I will go to OBS and I will hide this small camera and I will enable the camera. Just wait a minute, guys. Need to activate it. Okay. So can you guys see me much more bigger? It's totally fine if I'm hiding the contents of the left side because they don't matter. So I will just show you things. And can you see this particular URL? So this URL tells us that this is the IP address which is of the host machine and the port which is 8000. So basically what we are doing is we are accessing all our directories present on our home using the URL. Okay, that means I have hosted this on my local network, and if anybody is present on my network tries to access this URL, they will be able to see all. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant yeah. So basically you can see that they will be able to access all these files if they enter this particular URL, in which this particular IP address is the host machine IP address and this is the port which was specified in the web server. Okay, now this is all the files of my original Kali Linux machine. So we can see that so many files are here. Now what I want to see is this particular file. You can see here save.epk, it is written here. So I need to install this particular file. If I click here, I'll be able to install this particular file. I've already installed it, so I won't install it again. But once I install this file and give the necessary permissions, here you can see that this is a file named main activity, right? This is our payload or the malicious file. Once I click on it, nothing happens. But notice the screen. You can see that there is a session opened here. Okay, I'll just open the YouTube chat for a while to see that. Wait. Okay, brightness issue, right? Just give me a second. I need to see it. Okay. So, just tell me if it is visible now, or just let me know if you can see it now. I'm trying to see it myself also. Cannot see anything. Okay. Now, trying to adjust the brightness. Let me know if you guys can see my screen much more better now. Clear? Okay, great. So I am opening Google Chrome. This is the website in which the first IP address is of the host machine, which we saw earlier, and this is the port number which we used in our web server. Okay. Now these are all the directories on my host machine or the Kylix machine, what I have to do is I have to scroll down till the last. I named my EPK as save.apk, so I click on this. I try to download it, but I've already downloaded it, so I won't download this file again. I cancel it. I go here. This is the file which we want to see. So I click on this file, and once you click here, so we click on run again, and it died out. So once I click here, we can see that the session has opened here. Okay. Now, what do we do once this session is opened? So I think it died again. So I'll have to open it again. Meanwhile, did you see that I was opening the payload and all that thing? Think you guys were able to see. So let's try if this works. Okay. So we'll run. Yeah, Nishi, that is the correct structure. I'll try to keep this going on, but it is apparently dying. Just give me a second, guys. I'll just generate a new APK totally. So MSF Venom, which is basically can I'll have to generate an APK again. So yeah, I generated an APK again. I will delete the existing one, and to show you guys again, I will keep it here. This time I'll download the APK file from this download. Keep open this using the package installer. We install this. Okay, while we keep our run command here. Okay, app is installed. Great. We close this. We go and click on main activity, and we give all these permissions because this is a simple payload. We have to give all these permissions, and we continue. But unfortunately, I don't know why this is dying here. So basically, this is the error, but it doesn't cause any issue. Uh, so let's try to troubleshoot this. Error is happening live, so it's better to troubleshoot right now. So we start MSF console again. Sorry guys, I don't know why it isn't working now, but it was working earlier. So I will try to again use. So we have this. I'm sorry. Okay, then set payload, set host, set port, and run. Let's try again if it works, else we will just change the port and try again. So I'll click it again. Okay, I'm unsure why this is dying, so I think I will just regenerate it. So this time let's keep the port something like 8888, and wait, I'm sorry. Test dot. Okay. So we made the test.apk. Again, we will repeat the same steps. We will go to the particular web server, and this time we will download the test.apk which we made, and hopefully it works this time. So downloads, and I need to set a new port which will be 8888, and now I will try installing the new app I made. And once it is done, I'll click run again, and let's try if this time it works. Okay, I am unsure why this is dying because it was working pretty sure when I tried. So basically, what it will do is it will give you shell access to the particular device. Sorry. Yeah, so it will give you shell access to the particular device, and you can execute some basic commands like dumping the SMS history, dumping the call logs, and as a fallback I had kept something, so I'll just show you. So this was when I was doing testing. You can see it was today only, so I'll just show you. So you can see that I dumped my SMS, so you can see from Geo, and these are all the SMS that I had received on my phone. There are endless SMSs. I'm unsure why this isn't working, but I'm trying to demonstrate at my best. So yeah, this is how you can like particularly you know dump all the SMS of the target device. Then you can get system information, and I think my camera is hiding, so I'll just place this way. And okay, so yeah, you can see SMS. Uh, the SMS dump of my particular phone. You can see OTPs like your my X OTP, then some number, Instagram OTP, WhatsApp, etc. etc. So this is basically dumping the SMS. Other things you can do is run commands like sysinfo, ls, pwd, cd to see the system level commands. So this is how Metasploit works. I am so sorry. This okay. Finally, thank God. So yeah, we will first use help, and before it dies out again, I will just shift my camera here. Okay, you guys can see these are all the active commands here available. So if I just type this info, these are my information details. The version I am using, architecture English, interpreter. Then if I try to uh, let's say for example I try if config. Okay, so if config, all the particular network interfaces which are accessible through my Android are listed here. Then so sorry, I don't know what just happened. So we go back, see the commands. Then let's try to see local time on my Android device. So we can see this is the time, which I think is correct. Then here are some shell commands which are file system commands. So we can basically search for files. Now let's try using the PWD. So this is where our particular payload is staged right now, and we are accessing through here. If I click on ls, so this is the directory, and this is the directory. So if I again type here, so it will result in the same. So basically you can use Linux. If Linux, then we use ls. If it's a Windows system, then we use dir. Okay. Next is basically screenshot and screen share, but it won't work on latest Android devices because they have hardened the security right now. Now, any guesses, guys? How can we utilize this particular interaction to perform a DDoS attack? Like, how can I make my particular Android device a botnet? I'll just show you guys the commands, so you can basically see from here that what command we have to use to make our system a botnet. I'm so sorry guys, the practical did not work earlier, but now it's working, so I hope you will forgive me for that. So yeah, tell me, what command can we use to make our system a botnet? You can see the screen and I'm waiting for your answers. JJ, I'm unsure because it worked for me like today itself and 2 days ago too. Furious, yes, we can access the call log. Let's try doing that too. I think we have dump call log. I think this is the correct command. Unless I saw something wrong. Okay, there are three S. So it died. Tamper or edit the data. Yes, yes, you can definitely edit. So I'll just go through the commands here because I think you saw the particular session being opened. I think that was the core purpose of this particular metasploit, and I think I fulfilled it. However, I'll try to again open this. So we can just try to dump call log and see we have dumped the call log, and we were asking this. Let's try seeing the call log. So you can see that, never mind. So these are basically the call logs. Okay, I hope you can see the call logs. And yes, upload. We can use this particular command to upload a file or directory, and we can upload a malicious file which can make my device a botnet. Make dir also to make a directory. Yes, you are good. We can download a file or directory from the phone also. And just to see that what all apps are on my device, I can just use a particular command here. I can find it. I think it is not listed here. I forgot the command. So it was basically the listing of apps. Yeah, so search command is used to search for files in the system, whereas upload is used to upload a file or directory from your system to the target system. Okay, then ls make dir mv create new directory on the local machine, read the contents of, print the working directory. We can edit a file which is existing on the system. Now, how can we edit this? How can we utilize this? Guys, we just discussed lol bins, right? If I know vulnerability in the system, I can just edit the binary file, change the code snippet, or add something malicious, and I can utilize the method of lol bins to gain access. Yeah, using CLI. Sumant, regarding tampering data, uh, you can, particularly here, you can play any audio. You can start an application on the device. Then you can send an SMS from the target device. You can set the audio mode. You can disable wake lock. You can geolocate the device. Yes, mastermind, we can download files from the victims. The command is right here, download a file or directory. Okay, you can list the local files and then you can download it. Play. So basically play is to just play an audio file on the target system. You can just prank them. So I know there are a lot of doubts on commands, and so we'll go through them one by one. Cat command to use the direct contents of a file, cd to change the directory, checksum to just see the checksum of the file, cp to copy source to destination, to copy a file from one place to another, delete to delete a file, dir to list the file same as ls, download to download a file or directory from the system, edit a file, get lwds to print the local directory, it is same as lpwd, get wd is equal to print the working directory, lcat is basically to read the contents of a local file, similarly lcd for local changing directory, ld to list the local directories, lls to again list the local files, l make directory to make a file or directory, or to make a directory on the locally, lpwd present working directory which is local, ls again list files, make dir mv pwd rm, you know these commands, search to search a file in the target device, upload to upload a file in the target device, ifconfig ipconfig port forwarding route to display interfaces, display IP routes, and to forward a port to a remote service. Then you can modify the routing table, which can be used to bypass the firewall rules. Okay, execute. Basically, this is shell level access. You can execute a command which is achieving kind of remote code execution. You can get environment variables. Now, if this is a Windows machine, you can get the registry values, which is again very dangerous. You can get the process identifiers, user IDs, local time, the filter. You can filter processes. You can list the running processes. You can go into the system shell. You can get the information about the OS. You can screen share the if it's a desktop. You can screen share it remotely. Screenshot, grab a screenshot of the interactive desktop. Record, you can record the mic, you can start a video chat, you can list the webcams available on the device, you can take a snapshot from the webcam, you can stream the webcam, uh, remote access on Android. Amit, this is I have accessed my own Android phone only, but if you can see, I don't know that I am just reading the chat right now, and I don't even know that my particular Android device has been compromised. Okay. Yes, Sumant, you can definitely do that to set up a backdoor. Then play as we discussed to play a audio file. Activity start to randomly start an application or a process. Check root to see if my device is rooted. Now, if I just run this command, I can see that my device is not rooted. That means that gaining kernel level access on my device is pretty tough because I have not rooted it. Dump call log, which I just did. Dump the contacts. Dump the SMS. Geolocate the phone to hide any app icon, then to collect interval collection, basically like any messages or data which is coming through any other means, to send an SMS, to set the audio mode silent, vibrate. APK shows on screen with your app. Yes, wait, Nishi, I'll get to that. I'll get to your and Amit's and Priyanka's doubt. Wake lock, you can disable wake lock, you can geolocate using WLAN information. Now, coming to the doubts, I'll answer one by one, and just to be sure, I will show you guys something. You can see that this is the application, and it is of course visible on the screen because this is a very basic payload I have made and not an advanced one. Okay, because we are learning and not trying to exploit anything in real life. So, coming to your queries, sir, can we remote access the Android? Amit, yes, I just remotely access my Android. But if you are not on the same network, you can use tunneling, which is basically setting up ngrok or Cloudflare tunnel, and then instead of using http.server, you can use Cloudflare server, and instead of using uh, reverse TCP, you can use HTTP or HTTPS. Okay. I think Amit that clears your doubt. How to bypass warnings by downloading and installing malicious software, and if you can, how to bypass while creating payloads. ZWN, for that you need to bind your payload to an original application. Like you can just bind your payload to a game or snake game, so that whenever user tries to open the game, it will load normally, but on the back end your payload will execute and you will be able to exploit. However, in modern phones, it is easily caught and flagged by antiviruses. So in most cases, you need to make your own payload to bypass antivirus. Ashnit, yes, you can use top to see running processes, but how do we use it? You need to first run this command to access the shell, and then you can use the top command to see the running processes. Mastermind, yes, we can download files. The command is right here. You can download a file or a complete directory. Can the camera slash mic can be accessed? Yes, it can be accessed, but not but very tough on latest devices because of the security hardening. However, you can still bypass it with your own custom payload, obfuscating it. Okay, play is used to basically play a audio file. You can crank. Okay. Then again, how to bypass the warning by downloading? You simply need to bind your payload to a legitimate application, and then you just need to send that application to your victim and make him or her download. The DDoS botnet. So basically, what you do is you upload a file or directory. Okay, you upload a file or directory which the malicious command, uh, simply you can upload another payload which continuously sends requests to the website, and then you can set it up in such a way that every time the user starts the device, it automatically gets activated. How do you do that? You use the shell access to execute this. So Furious, I hope that clears your doubt. So one thing, sir, is there any way auto run RC to get in without the user interaction? Yes, that is also possible, but that is where kernel level access comes in. You are accessing the kernel, the core of the Android device, and that is how you are able to exploit. Uh, Yes, you can make it polymorphic. You can change the icon. You can hide it. Absolutely possible. As I said, you can bind this particular application to a legitimate application. How to do that, I won't show you. But what to install to do that is this APK tool will help you to do this thing. You need to decompile the APK and you need to recompile it. Okay. Ashrit, yes, you can use image or video instead of APK also, but that means that you will need to send it over a medium which does not strip off the metadata. That is like Telegram. Earlier it used to work, and maybe a file sharing service. Okay. Vinny Solanki, Python command not working in Linux. Vinny, you can just send the screenshot to me later on WhatsApp. I will help you. Okay, I hope that is all the doubts related to meter pitter session. I hope you guys like this particular demo where I just hacked into my own device. But in real world, this is not easy. There are certain things you need to try. You need to bind your payload to legitimate applications. You need to obfuscate your particular malware, and that is how you basically are able to gain access to a system. I hope all of the commands were clear till here. Once again, I am really sorry for that error in between. I don't know, it wasn't coming earlier. It just came randomly. So we solved it and we saw live that how device can be hacked. Okay. Now, one more interesting thing I want to show you is I wanted to show you ransomware on my own device, but I couldn't get it working. So I'll still show you the tool which you can use to test it on your own device. Okay. But make sure to don't test it on any other device because it is definitely not recommended, and I really don't support any kind of malicious activities. So basically this tool, so I will just tell you what this tool does. So if we go to catreadme.md, what is this? It is a simple Android ransomware attack, and it is an educational security research tool to demonstrate Android malware creation techniques. It allows how to understand Android Trojan and ransomware operate. Okay, you can simply clone this particular repository, and then you can just simply do chmod plus x install dot sorry install dot sh, and you can just simply run sudo bash install dot sh. Okay, so basically it will try to install any packages if they are not installed, and yes, it is installed. Okay, now next step is we need to run python.py. So I'll quickly shift my webcam so you can see it more clearly. Now, what is this? Hi user, welcome to Sarah. Simple tool, Android ransomware attack. What can it build? It can build a Trojan ransomware using Metasploit. It can build a locker ransomware to lock the files, or it can build a simple screen locker ransomware. So we do the third one and just see the steps. Okay, guys. So the default configuration is of name is the screen locker. The heading is your phone is locked. The description is whatever locked by this. The icon you can set, and the passphrase which you have to keep, and the victim won't know. So let's say for example I am keeping the app name as test demo. Heading is demo for session, and description is blocked by me. And icon, I don't have any icon, so I can just press enter randomly, and keys, which is the basically the passphrase. So I can just type in red team and it will take a time, but unfortunately it wasn't working for me. So this was some error with APK tool, but once you do this, it will give you an APK file which you will be able to see here, and you can just transfer the APK file to your Android device. You can install it, you can run it, and you can see that how a screen locker ransomware works. Okay, so this is the one of the tools I show, and another is the fat rat. So I'm unsure if I'm writing the command right. Basically, I'll just open up Chrome to show you. GitHub. Okay, so one of the most famous tools used in exploitation. So it compiles a malware with famous payload. Then the compiled malware can be executed on Linux, Windows, Mac, Android, and it is basically an easy way for those who don't want to, to manually the process of MSF and Metasploit. It can fully automate the fully automate the process of generating the payload and the console part, and it has local or remote listener generation. It can easily make backdoors by the categories of operating system, and if the Android version is old, it can also bypass antivirus. Okay, so you can just go to this repository, you can download it, and you can try it for yourself, because this is basically Metasploit, but automated, and we already saw how Metasploit works. So this is its interface, and I would recommend you guys to try this. Now, one more important concept I would recommend you guys to not yet leave. Sorry for the extent. So Shodan, okay, have you guys heard about Android debug bridge? Let me know in the comments or in the chat. Have you guys heard about Android debug bridge or ADB? I am seeing the chat, so please type in so I know. Okay, Sumant has heard, Radhika has heard. Great. Okay, many of you have heard. So Android debug bridge is basically a way to remotely access any Android phone, and it is usually enabled when you enable developer tools or root access on your phone. Okay. Now I'm just showing this on live target. I won't access any target here, but I'll just show you the command you can use on your own controlled environment. So how to select a target? Authentication, authentication, authentication. You just skip that. You see this particular thing has the name model device listed. That means we can try something on this particular device. Now, coming back to our terminal, if I just clear this, type ADB connect IP address. Now, the default port for ADB is 5555. How do you verify it? You just click on this IP address, and you can see the open port is 5555, which is basically the Android debug bridge. Again, you can see it. So once you type that and you hit enter, if the device is open to connections, you will be able to connect here, and again you will be having full access of the particular Android phone. I won't do that here. Okay, so this is about Android debug bridge or ADB in short. Okay, so this was about the exploitation phase, and I tried my best to demonstrate everything particularly I could. And one more thing we will see here is we will run MSF console again, and to understand things better, you can see that you can just type in show all, and you can see all the possible payloads exploit which are available on Metasploit. Okay, so you can just explore it yourself, and you can pick up one, you can try it on your own lab, and you can understand how it works in real life. So that was it regarding the demo and practical from my side. So now, if any queries are there, I will be happy to answer them. Any queries related to anything from previous session for upcoming sessions, or anything related to cybersecurity, I'm all ears. You can just ask me, and I will try to explain at my level best. Okay, so I am reading the chat, and I think 15 minutes would be great to answer all queries. So suggest Android emulator for VM. Dilip, I actually personally don't use any Android emulators, so I really have no idea about them. But I think Google and ChatGPT are your friends for such questions. Thank you, Mastermind. Thank you, Radhika, for being so interactive and asking doubts. It also freshens up my memory of terms. So thanks to you guys also. And any other doubt, any even if it's a minor doubt, you can just ask me right away. I'll be happy to answer you guys. Thank you, ZW man. Yep, Mastermind, thank you. And once again, I apologize for the error regarding the Metasploit. Thank you, Furious. Thank you, Priyanka. Shobha, thank you. Shankar, thank you. Thank you, Jitu. Thank you, Shailesh. Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Lalit. Thank you, Amit. Rishi, yes, I will send my LinkedIn on a WhatsApp, and I am an admin also. So, no issues. Saurav, thank you. Urvi, thank you. Dilip, thank you. So what ADB is kind of an universal tool for Android devices. So basically, if you have root enabled on your phone, that means your the ADB bridge is open by default. Okay. Uh, Thank you, Talha. Thank you, Pranav. A link I will share on WhatsApp. Don't worry. Cartoon Kids. Thank you, Srinivas. Thank you. Urvi, that the reason of breaking might be because of my particular AV. It might be trying to see that some kind of packets are being sent to some other host, so it might have been intercepting and breaking the connection. So yeah, it happens sometimes, especially in the newer Android versions. But in the end, it worked, and I got to show you guys the demo correctly. So I am pretty satisfied with that, and I hope you guys are also. Sunil, thank you. We have 87 watching. That's great. Thank you, Raj. And I'm expecting at least 2 3 doubts, guys. Come on. I mean, there is so much to ask in this session. Like, so I would love to answer some doubts if there are. Yeah. Thank you, Ashwin, so much. My pleasure too. It was great to have such an interactive audience, and it actually motivates any speaker to give their best. So, I also wanted to show you guys the ransomware. So, but unfortunately, I couldn't demonstrate it. So, my bad. Attendance link. I am unsure about attendance link. I was not told about it, so I'm not really sure. Just give me a minute. I'll just confirm it with the team, and I will try to send it here itself. Sir, pen testing some hands-on for Android practice, please. Rishi, first I would suggest you to start with web application pen testing. Once you understand the vulnerabilities which exist in web application, it will be much easier for you to find those vulnerabilities on Android phones. Okay. Sumant, no worries. The chat is not going too fast, so I can easily read each and every chats. How can Metasploit used to run exploit a service running on a non-default port? Srishti, that's where you try to think differently and you try to utilize the nmap, right? Nmap is port scanning, and if there is an unfamiliar port with some other service running, you can just use nmap to particularly map out the service and find its exploit. Kids cartoon with kids. Yeah, sure. Ask me about the kernel part. Uh, Amita, I think the team will send it on the WhatsApp group itself. And just wait a minute. I'll just share the link. Nishi, if you are done with web pen testing, I suggest try CTFs, and Pico CTF will give you a lot of Android challenges with solutions to try them. Okay. Uh, and yes, I think I forgot to show you guys one thing, so I'll just show it to you quickly while you guys are still here. So yeah, JJ, I'm giving the attendance link. Just give me a second. So yeah, exploit DB. You can see all the particular exploits available for vulnerabilities out here. So if I'm searching for, let's say, for a process PowerShell, let's see if there is anything available. You can see Windows PowerShell, event log bypass, single code execution, privilege escalation, unsanitized file name command execution. Okay, so this is how you can simply find. If you click here, you can find all the particular details, issues, log bypass, the POC, which is the main core section. Okay, mastermind. Actually, I have done bug bounties and product security, so it took some, you know, thinking about what I do at my job and some Google searches to get things. Other ways than social engineering. Uh, so basically, social engineering, then you can use email delivery, and one particular way is physical security, which means you go to the particular organization, you take a USB, you put it in a particular device, and then from there you gain remote access. Okay, guys, I'll be sharing the attendance link in the chat right now, so please pay careful attention to the chat. Okay, I just pasted the link. It's from my alternate account, so I can't pin it. Please fill the attendance. Uh, Amitha, in red teaming, first you need to understand networking, extremely core concept. You need to understand operating system, very much needed if you are targeting Windows. Then you need to understand scripting, which is basically PowerShell scripting or Bash scripting, which you will need to use to automate things. Then you can move on to how exploits work, what are the CVEs, what is hashing, what are malwares, and all that, and then you can dig deeper. Okay, guys, I hope you can see the attendance link. Please fill it. Uh, Meanwhile, I'll also do one thing. I will try to, you know what, I'll open the attendance link here itself. Just give me a second. I'll answer your doubts too. Just give me a second, guys. I'm opening the link here. So, you can type in with me or just simply. Okay, so this is the link, or I have already sent it on the chat. You can check the link, so you can view that also. You can open up the segment, and it is recommended that you fill the attendance form. And meanwhile, any queries, do let me know. I am here. Guys, please see the chat carefully. I have pasted the attendance link again, forms.gle. Please see it. I hope you can see it now. Okay, guys, just give me 5 minutes. I'll just set it up quickly on the on PC. I'll need to set up it on Windows. So just give me a minute. I will copy this link here and I'll go here. Turn off my camera. We'll just add timer. Just give me 5 minutes while I set up the attendance. Guys, give me 5 minutes. I'm setting up the attendance thing. You will need to give me some time. Please wait for 2 minutes. So just a minute, guys. I'm done with setting up. I will display the QR code on the screen itself. So just a minute. There we have an image, and we'll use the QR code. Minimize it. Place it here, and okay. I think you guys can see the QR code. I've started the timer, and you can submit the attendance now. I'm sorry. I'm managing the OBS alone, so it took some time. I hope it's all clearly visible now. And meanwhile, I will answer the queries which have been asked by Asneet. What is your point of view as a pen tester? As Microsoft is very keen on AI in the product, it is going to be very hard. Asneet, if you see carefully and if you are up to date with the technologies and all that, you can see that AI is not a type of obstacle that should affect a pen tester. In fact, it should open new paths and it should open new techniques on how to exploit. OWASP top 10 there was for API and web, but now there is also for LLMs. Jailbreaking, prompt injections, making the AI reveal sensitive data. There is much more scope in AI also. So it might be hard, but at the same time, it is interesting and it is also rewarding. Okay. Similarly, Amita, for blue teaming, you need to learn about networking operating systems. Then you need to learn SQL so that you can run queries faster. You need to learn what is XDR, EDR, IDS, IPS, SIEM. You need to learn about tools like Splunk, all that. Okay, Ashtita, I think I answered your query. I hope you were able to hear it. And just to repeat, it is hard, but at the same time, it is interesting and it is rewarding. Okay. Ash network. Okay, my bad. My bad. Thank you for correcting me. Okay. Meanwhile, 58 participants are there. If anyone has any more doubt, please ask me. Yep. Furious Master Exploits does utilize exploit DB database to give exploits also. So yeah, but it is not only limited to exploit DB. Okay. I hope that clears your doubt too. Any more doubts? I am happy to answer them. Any more doubts, guys? before we end this session after the timer? Feel free to ask me. I'm reading the chat, so you can just ask anything. Okay, I don't think there are any more doubts, so I'll just wait for the timer to end, then we can end the session. I'll also delete the malicious file. Any kind of queries or feedback you can drop in, so I can know where to improve myself also. Thank you, Shubhi. I hope you enjoyed the session. Srishti, I will be really honest with you. Currently, the overall IT market is very competitive and not so, inviting for freshers. But however, if you have the appropriate skills, you can easily land an internship. I think there are you can find openings on LinkedIn, Internshala, Naukri.com, all that, right? So I would suggest you to improve your skills and make your resume stand out more, because right now the market is pretty overcrowded, and cybersecurity being a role where it is only that if you are the best, you are taken, like cannot be taken into a cybersec team if you are just in average, unless you are going into blue teaming. Okay. Thank you, Ash Nitro. ZW man, no worries. And I hope you were able to easily answer the questions after this session, and you were able to understand new terminologies and get better understanding on existing terminologies. Thank you, Mastermind, for the feedback. Yogesh, I'll send the PPT to you guys on the group. It will be sent to you guys. That won't be an issue. for red team role, you can add anything related to port scanning or maybe fingerprinting of operating system, vulnerability scanner, about HTTP methods. Then you can also add projects related to automation of Metasploit as we saw earlier. Then uh, you can make particular payloads which are not harmful but can demonstrate bypass of antivirus. Okay, Shubhi, thank you for staying. Thank you for this. No worries, because if you go out from this session with doubts in your mind, that will only hold you back further ahead. So 5 minutes to go. I hope you all are able to complete your assignments easily. Yes, project idea can make a vulnerability scanner with CB detection and probably a code review also. Ash Nitro, freshers in cybersecurity. Okay. Uh, from basically, I will say from my point of view, as I am also student only. I myself am a third year engineering student. So what I would recommend you guys is to sharpen up your skills, build visibility, and the most important aspect is networking. Make connections with people who are already placed in the field, who are at a higher position. And right now, like how the market is going, connections will help you get a job more faster. And blue team associate analyst role are one of the most easier parts to enter into cybersecurity. Or you can enter in the help desk role, and from there you can shift vertically or horizontally to cybersecurity roles. Okay, Ash, I hope that clears it out. सप्ताह पर मध्ये uh, you can contact me on LinkedIn, or you can contact me on WhatsApp too. I am one of the admins, and I will share the PPT also, so you can know that what is my number in the group, and you can contact me anytime for any doubts. Amita, networking, operating systems, SQL queries, then you need to know about IDS, IPS, how firewalls work, set up a intrusion detection system on your machine, then learn about SIEM, which is Security Information and Events Management. Then you can then further go on to Splunk, EDR, XDR detection, and then finally you can learn about incident response, documentation, reporting. Okay, projects that impress recruiter. I think projects which showcase that you have a very good understanding of the terminologies, like you know IDS, IPS, but you can't implement it, then the recruiter will never know that how good you know it. So any project which showcases that you have a strong technical understanding of that concept will impress the recruiter from my perspective. But as I said, I am myself a student, so I don't really know how recruiters think. Okay, hope that clears your doubt as well. Most welcome, Vika. Mastermind, I did not understand what you meant by Jula. So, if it was the background noise, then it might be because of the garden. I don't really know. If you can elaborate, that's fine. Thank you, Sapta, for being a good audience and interacting with me. I hope you guys have filled the attendance because there are only 30 seconds remaining. Yeah, to be a red teamer, you need to have web pen testing skills. You need to know about active directory attacks. You need to know network security. You need to know social engineering, and you also need to know blue teaming. Yeah, mastermind, you are right. It was that only because of the garden. Okay, so the timer is up, and I think, thank you. Yeah, formality on toxic first look. Ash Network didn't get your question correctly. Thank you, Sumant. Ash, if you can elaborate on toxic first look. I did not really get that point. Uh, See, Amita, I'll answer this in a very good way, and if you understand it, you will really understand what I'm saying. Okay, you can be a good hacker without learning programming languages, but you can be a great hacker if you learn programming languages. Okay, I hope that answers your question. No, Ash Nitro. Unfortunately, I'm not much of a movie and web series person, but since you said, I will have a look. Dilip, thank you. And I think it's almost 9:45. So if there are no more queries, we can simply end the session. And I wish you a good night and hope you continue to be whatever you imagine to be in the world of cybersecurity. And me and Sukadbad group are always there to help you out throughout your journey and answer any queries. So that's it from my end. Hope you enjoyed the session and hope you got to learn a lot of new things and you will use those knowledge to gain your skills. Thank you guys. Bye bye and have a great night.